Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us today. My name is Tony, aka Blaze,
And my name is Dustin, aka Bosk.
and we are evenly matched.
Mm,
On today's episode, we'll be covering our quick first impressions on Disney Infinity 2.0.
right. Oh, it was a good time.
Yeah, we played that just a couple days ago. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
It
I
was fun.
really enjoyed it. I've played a lot of Skylanders. We got the. Well, I never played the original Skylanders, but we played Giants and then Swap Force. So got quite a bit of experience with Skylanders, and I liked it. And I never took the plunge into getting Disney Infinity because it was, it was another kind of money suck. It was a lot of money investment to get involved. But I'm glad we got to play it because I had a lot of fun.
I didn't play the first one. I think, did you say that already?
The first Disney Infinity?
Yeah,
No, I never played that one.
yeah. I didn't play it either, and I was a little apprehensive of getting this one a little bit, but I'm actually kind of glad that we picked it up and played it because it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
It's
So let's
definitely
go ahead.
it's definitely different than Skylanders by a long
Def-
shot. I mean, they've got the basic character collection stuff going on, but outside of that, I feel like there's not too much that's similar in the game, and that makes me really happy.
Well, let's talk about what we liked about Disney Infinity
Sure.
2.0. What did you like?
Well, from my first impressions of the game, I really liked the differences, as I said, between it and Skylanders because, when you play Skylanders, I think the biggest thing for me is that, other than Spyro, which is where Skylanders kind of originated from, none of the characters are recognizable at all outside of Skylanders. They're all
That's
made
true.
up for Skylanders. So, you're playing as all these characters and they're cool. They're really neat looking. They've got some cool powers, some cool abilities, but you're not attached to them. It's not like it's anything to get excited about. You see a new character they're creating, for example, the new game Trap Team. They're coming up with a whole bunch of new Skylanders. I have no idea what the heck any of these guys are.
I'm the same way. Like
Yeah.
it's all they look cool. I mean, but I don't know them. I don't know who this flame juggler guy is. I don't know that.
Yeah.
It's
That's exactly my
weird.
point. So for Disney Infinity, what really appeals to me is the fact that every one of the characters you pretty much already know beforehand, or you have an idea where they come from. You can, for example, with the new 2.0, with the whole Marvel universe, you can go read the comics about them, get some backstory if you want. But they're just cool characters in general that they're bringing into a video game form. But not only that, they're bringing you collectible figurines for them too, and that's really cool.
And that's one thing I liked about it was that the figures are awesome. Like they're really cool figures, and they're larger than I expected them to be, which I think is a definite pro. They they have some weight to them. Like they're actually, they're not like light, flimsy. Like I'm gonna break this, sword off of this guy by accident, kind of a thing. It's a large, very well constructed figure, and they're very detailed. Like they have all the same details they would have in a movie or in, in a, on a drawing or something somewhere. They're very detailed. So that is one thing I really liked about the figures.
Yeah, and I'll totally agree with you there. And I would have said the same thing about the first Disney Infinity too, is that they all have such a cool style to them. Like, they're all very stylized versions of their characters. And that's really, like, even Wreck-It Ralph, which just came out with a movie, what was it, last year, year before? Man, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
But, the figure looks like Wreck-It Ralph, but it's also very stylized in the whole Disney Infinity style. And I really like that. I really like the way they all look unique, but they all fit together at the same time. So, it's pretty cool.
Definitely, and you can take them into different worlds in the toy box mode, and you can make them do different things, which is pretty fun. And I think we'll get to what we didn't like in a minute, but I think that having those characters interact with other Disney characters is really, really cool.
Yeah, and you even mentioned it before. Like, we were talking about it when we were playing the game, that both of us, before we took the plunge and actually picked up Disney Infinity. Well, you picked up Disney Infinity, but before we actually played it, we had both considered just purchasing the characters themselves,
Yeah.
just the figures, because they're really cool looking and you just want to have them on your shelf.
I had Wreck-It Ralph, for 4 or 5 months now, just because he looks really cool. And
Yeah.
the movie was awesome. So
I wanted to pick up Jack Skellington and Wreck-It Ralph and the Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey. Those all looked really cool. So
they do.
Yeah, but now with all the Marvel Universe characters, and I was looking on the back, there's so many more. There's Spider-Man, there's Venom that you can actually play as Nick Fury, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
I didn't know. I thought he was just going to be an NPC in the game, so that's cool.
He has a figure.
Yeah.
He's playable.
But yeah, so outside of the figures, which are obviously very cool. I mean, the whole figure craze has been kind of going on lately. The actual game is where you spend the most of your time. So the first thing we did was a little bit of an introductory gameplay segment that taught you how to play the game, what the game was about, and then it jumped us straight into Toy Box mode. So Toy Box mode seemed pretty cool right off the bat, but Tony took off in a car.
I did. I was driving too fast.
Yeah, ran right off that edge.
Shut up and drive moment. Let's go. Let's gotta get this going.
Well, what did you think of Toy Box mode?
It was cool. It was like a nice little sandbox you can play in. There's different, like, it started off really small, and then as you explored and discovered different things, it kind of popped up with these giant, like half worlds that kind of attached to the main island that you were on, which I thought was very cool. Just to see these things pop up in real time, and it's not out of the ordinary. We've seen stuff like this before, but it was neat in a Disney environment to see that stuff. I think they had an Aladdin castle that showed up, which was really neat. And it just kind of came out of nowhere, and then all these hidden things kind of showed up in the Toy Box mode too that you could collect and get new stuff with. So I did like it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, there was it popped up a Cars track, because we talked to a little Cars guy, and he's the one who started the whole driving thing, and that racetrack popped up in the area in the Toy Box mode. And then we went to, it was like a little city, which I don't know if that was a reference to the Marvel Universe or if that was reference to the Incredibles, but it popped up that like a little segment of a city, but the racetrack was still there, and then it popped up the little Aladdin area, but it was right next to the city, and it's just like, it was weird because all these things were all meshed together, but yet it just kept expanding the world, and it made it feel kind of natural. Like you were just like, oh cool, now I've got this big area to explore. And
yeah.
So
we didn't do the create your own world thing. We didn't really have time to do it because we wanted to get into the game. But I imagine that's actually really neat. You can just make your own thing based on what you've unlocked. Which, I don't know how that's going to work out exactly, but I've heard you can make like little mini games and stuff that you and your friends can play, or I think you can download stuff too. I'm not sure if that's true.
Yeah, very, very Little Big Planet-esque.
Definitely.
I know they do allow you to download stuff. Like I think for the first Disney Infinity, they actually had a downloadable stage that was like, God, why can't I think of the name of it? The city from BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
So you could like download this city that looked almost exactly like the city from BioShock Infinite, and you just run around in this, and it's made out of Disney Infinity parts, but it was a free download that the developers actually gave to the players of the game. I thought that was really cool.
That is neat. That is awesome. I liked the gameplay. The gameplay was fun too. I thought the controls were decent. They didn't take too long to get into. It took a little bit of time to figure out what the attack button was. I found myself pressing a button that did nothing for a while.
The roll button.
But the square button, I think it was, just didn't do anything until you unlock something for that button to do.
All right.
And I was pressing that button and getting beat up. I died a lot, but those lasers. That's not because of controls. And then I like the stylized graphics of it. Were really cool. It was like a comic book, but more of like a 3D environment too, which was neat. But I did like the visuals a lot too. It's clearly made for kids, but I think adults, people of all ages can get into it, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, and you kind of ran into that same thing with Skylanders as well, because Skylanders came across as a very kiddie thing. You would tell people, "Hey, I'm playing Skylanders," and they'd kind of look at you like, "Really?" But when you got into it, it was actually pretty entertaining. It had a lot of cool collectibles. Enemies were pretty fun. It had some adult humor here and there that was kind of thrown in there. And man, if you cranked the difficulty up in Skylanders, it was pretty hard. It had some hard moments.
We had some trouble in Disney Infinity fighting some bosses, and you guys can watch the whole thing online. We had a tough time in that one.
Yeah,
particularly had a tough time. So
yeah, Loki and those laser beams. Those lasers kept getting you.
Those lasers, man, freaking hallways, the freaking laser beams attached to their freaking sides.
But yeah, that's what we did. Like we didn't stay in Toy Box mode for very long. I mean, honestly, toy box mode, I think you could have just stayed in for forever. I mean, we could have spent we played 2.5 hours worth, and we probably could have just spent the whole entire time playing in toy box mode. But we jumped over into the Avengers playset, and that was pretty cool because it basically opened up like this totally different game. Like it was a game just focused all around Avengers, and you didn't really see any other Disney elements in there. It was pretty much just, it was all Avengers stuff. It had an Avengers storyline, and you know, we played that for what? It was, I want to say, an hour and a half. And
it was a while, yeah. I think the first part of the game was the intro, and then they throw you in toy box mode. And from there, you're like, well, what do I do now? But then once you get it figured out, you know, you go into the actual game, which is fun.
Well, you know, like I said, we could have stayed in toy box mode forever, but we decided to try out the Avengers thing, and I don't even know how far we got. Like, I don't know how far along in that game's missions we got. We stopped when well, I'm not gonna do any spoilers and everything, but we did like the first boss battle essentially, and that's where we died a whole bunch. But
yeah, way too much.
Oh man, he was tough. He kept, you know, just shooting stuff all around the arenas. Yeah, it was crazy. But you know,
he's a jerk.
But I want, you know, we need to play more to figure out how much longer that actual campaign is, because I feel like it still goes on. We didn't get any sort of closure as to why the Frost Giants were there or anything else. You know, it was just pretty much like, oh, we beat this boss and he kind of ran away, and we got a weird little circular thing, and then we're like, okay, let's cut it. So I don't know how much longer it goes, but it felt like almost.
I think a couple more play sessions with that, I think, would determine whether or not, you know, we're getting our money's worth, which, you know, so far with the figures and everything that we've done, I feel like we have, but we'll cover that in a minute. But what do we not like about Disney Infinity?
Well, you know, for me, I just honestly, there was just one gripe for me when it came to the game. I enjoyed the controls. You know, I was playing as Thor the majority of the time, so I was flying around the city, and it was really fun. You know, up and down, all over the place.
Flying is cool. It seems like the controls were pretty good on flying too.
Yeah.
But
even driving, I thought well, I kept running into walls when I was driving, but that was more just the turning radius.
That was my complaint, was the vehicle controls. I couldn't stay on the course. I was running into things. I mean, maybe I'm just retarded, I don't know, but I was having trouble controlling the motorcycle and the car that were presented.
You hit one wall and it's all downhill. Like, it's just like one wall, and then you ping pong off of that wall into another wall, and then you ping pong off that. It's just like you're out of control.
Even the horse in the intro, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I was going back and forth. It was just wonky. It's best. The only word I can use to describe the controls for the vehicles is just wonky.
Yeah, I remember you complaining about that. You were complaining about the horse in the beginning. A stupid horse. But yeah, like the controls for the majority of the time were really, really good. But I think the thing for me, the only one gripe I would have was the fact that the camera controls in the game, I mean, just, yeah, I'm so used to playing games like, you know, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and, you know, just all these other like adventure action games, which is what this game kind of fits into, where you've got a button to either lock your camera onto an enemy that you're attacking, or move the camera behind you. You know, you can hit this button.
You know what? I realized that they did have that for certain characters. Like, I think it was characters that could shoot guns. Like, you could lock the camera and you could do like a third-person shooter kind of controls.
You could do that with anybody, even Thor. He was a melee person. You could still do it with him. But what it did though when you hit that button is it would keep. So even if your character was facing the camera toward you, and you hit that button, I felt like it would just keep the camera facing the same direction it was, but it would turn your character around to face that direction. So that was my main issue, is that whenever I wanted to fight something that was behind me, I could of course turn my character around and start attacking that direction, but if I actually wanted to see what was going on, I had to use the right control stick and aim the camera around. And the camera was kind of sluggish. Maybe that's something you can, you know, set up in the options. I didn't really check. But the camera was just kind of sluggish, so I just felt like I was constantly fighting with the camera because the enemies always seemed to be behind me, or they're running in front of me, or back and forth. It was really hard to keep track of stuff because there's no lock on.
Yeah, it was slow to rotate that camera around your character. That's the only, you know, I'll agree with you that camera was rough. It was a struggle to get around. So
Yeah.
definitely agree.
I was looking in the instruction manual too. I was trying to find. I was like, am I missing something? Am I not hitting the right button? Because I'm sure there's got to be, in this day and age, there's got to be adequate camera control.
It is 2014. There should be better camera control.
And Skylanders didn't have that problem because Skylanders didn't have any camera control. The camera was controlled for you the entire time, and you just pretty much ran around these environments, and that's okay. I like it when games do that. But from when we were playing Disney Infinity, at least the Marvel playset, it was like this huge open world, similar to like Grand Theft Auto. I mean, you could run people over with cars. You could pick people up and throw them off of buildings.
Yep. You could run through benches, and a lot of things are destructible, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you can pick people up and throw them off of buildings if you want to. They don't die, but you can throw them off the highest building in the whole game, and they just fall, hit the ground.
You can use people as ammo, throw them at enemies. So I mean, it was like, it's kind of a cool alternative for GTA for kids in a way. It's a, but it's just crazy because it had this huge open world, so you can't really expect it to have a fixed camera that's taking the computers or the games taking control of the camera angles for you.
I would love it if a kid was asking about Grand Theft Auto. Hey, can I buy Grand Theft Auto? And the person behind the counter was like, no, you want Disney Infinity instead. And they went, oh, thanks, mister. I would love that.
Ugh.
But they want Grand Theft Auto.
Wouldn't that be the day? That'll be the day.
But
yeah.
Well, my biggest complaint with Disney Infinity is the content that's in the game. Is that we touched on it earlier. We're not sure how many missions were in that Avengers set, whether it's 13 or 30 or how many there are. And then after you're done with those, you have to buy a whole new playset for $40. So that's a concern that I had, and it seems like to get the entire Disney Infinity experience, it's $150, which isn't really bad because you're getting all these really cool figures. And if you're a big fan of Marvel or Spider-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy, that's you're gonna have these figures that are in your house too, which is neat. It's just my biggest concern is how much am I gonna spend to get the entire experience. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's not really a complaint, and maybe it's not valid because you are getting the figures. But for me, it's kind of, I don't know.
I think for me, it's a debate on whether or not the playsets have enough content in them. Because you think of any game out there you see on the shelf, and most games typically run anywhere between $40 to $60 brand new. So Disney Infinity starts out a little bit more expensive. You said it was $75, right?
75, and you get the 3 figures and the playset.
Okay. So you get the 3 figures and you get a playset. So you're getting all that for $75, and then, but here's where it gets me. If the Avengers playset has enough content, like we did that, we got to the first boss. Say there's 5 or 6 more bosses after that, even more, and it's something that I feel is equal to a full game, then I'm okay with it. Like, say for example,
if there's like 50 or 70 missions, that'd be cool. Like, I'd be okay with that, or 6 boss battles or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and then you buy the Amazing Spider-Man set, and you get another 50, 60 missions or whatever, and you get another huge world to explore, and you get a bunch of new characters and new things to collect and stuff, and it feels like a full another game.
Oh yeah.
Then $40 is a steal. It's like buying a game for a console inside your console. Like, it's like buying games for this game. And I mean, it's kind of cool. It just depends on whether or not the actual campaign has enough content to feel it's justified in spending $40 for it.
Yeah, and you know what, if every DLC came with a really cool like statue or something, then maybe I'd be more prone to buying DLC or something. And this isn't a debate about DLC, but I think that if it all came with something tangible that you could hold or you could do something with, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's an option, but
what kind of does
Disney
you're getting
Infinity
the figures?
Well, I'm talking about other games.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool if more developers actually gave you physical bonuses for purchasing games and DLC, but most times it's just, hey, cool, look, you get this neat little recolor of a sword. Hooray.
It's $20.
Horse armor. Yeah, so I don't know. We're going to have to play it some more to figure out whether or not we think that, $40 for a playset is justifiable.
We'll definitely play it some more. I think that's in the books. So.
Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to add into it? Like anything else you thought about?
No. I mean, the game's fun. I mean, it's worth. I mean, if you have kids, I mean, and they like Marvel and they like comic books, they'll eat this up. Even if you like comic books and Marvel, I mean, you're probably gonna eat it up too. But that's all I had to add to it. I mean, it's fun. It is a very fun game.
And it's right out for the holiday season, so perfect timing, of course. Everything comes out this time of year.
Of course.
All right. Well, I mean, if that's it, then that's all we got for today. We're going to be doing some more videos on Disney Infinity 2.0 here soon, but for now, that's all we got. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Tell us what you think in the comments below as well. We love hearing you guys' feedback. You can also follow us on Twitter or email your suggestions to evenlymatchedvids@gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.